There we go. We're going already. Yeah, literally. My calendar didn't input any of the dates I put in last week. So I had a client turn up my doorstep this morning, back to back as well, because I already had one prep client turn up. So, oh, hey mate.
I had a similar thing in the week. I've got two calendars on my phone. So I've got like my Samsung calendar and I've got my Google calendar.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't marry together properly. And I'm like, which calendar, if there's like an appointment that's like on 9 o'clock or the same appointment that's at 8, I'm like, which calendar do I go with?
Well, mine didn't sync from my laptop to my phone.
Yeah.
That's what happened. But yeah, luckily it got it done anyway. Have you got many clients competing this season?
Any of my clients?
Yeah.
I think I've only got 1 or 2 this year.
Is that coming up?
The rest of my clients are in their off seasons, and they'll both be PCA first timers. So.
Oh, what first timers are they doing?
I think it'll be back end of the year, September, October time.
Yeah, I'm doing
one of the 2 PCA shows that are in that.
Yeah, I've got a first timer in that September show in Coventry.
It might be September.
Yeah.
It might be September. It's obviously all mapped out, but it's either September or October.
Yeah, and I've got one in 3 weeks at the first timers in Coventry.
Yeah, there's one in Coventry in 3 weeks' time. That's a complete sellout now.
Yeah, because I know Zach's got a client in the same class as him. So yeah, we're a bit head and head.
That men's physique? Is that men's physique?
Yeah. Yeah. Zach goes, oh, it's all right, my client's bigger than yours. I was like, okay, let's go.
How's he looking?
He looks
bang on
point.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this.
I think you may have posted him, right?
Yeah, we haven't posted him. Sorry, mate, go on.
I think you may have posted him on your Instagram recently, no?
Yeah, I have. But he's tightened up even since then, to be fair. If you can see this. The lighting as well doesn't do him any justice, because I see him in person this morning and I thought, holy fuck, he's like ready. And you can see that very well.
Yeah, that's the guy that I was thinking of.
Yeah.
What class would he be in?
Pardon?
What class is he going to be in?
He thinks he's doing masters.
Yeah.
So,
sharp.
Yeah, he'll be good. And we've only just started pushing this week. So
in terms of everything.
In terms of bringing his food down.
Yeah.
Anabolics are always pretty like mild. He doesn't need a lot at all. Yeah. I think we've only just gone into 100 milligrams of tren.
Okay.
We ran pretty much 60 milligrams the whole
pretty
8 weeks.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I think you only need a small amount of trenbolone these days anyway, don't you? You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all made that mistake of going up to like 300s, 400s.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I ran 100 milligrams for the duration of my prep. Didn't change, didn't budge.
Yeah, I like it. I like the feeling I get off that, because it doesn't affect my sleep at that point.
No, my sleep wasn't. You're right, actually. My sleep wasn't altered in the slightest this time, because we kept the dosages so small. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not all for studies, but there is actually studies show that there's a titration rate where you go over it and it becomes actually a little bit useless. So with trenbolone specifically, what makes it, people say, oh, it's 5 times more anabolic, 5 times more androgenic than any other steroid. Yeah. It's actually not. It's just because it's only anabolic that will fulfill the glucocorticoid receptor. And doing that, you're literally stimulating another pathway. You don't need a lot. You really don't need a lot. When people make that mistake, 19 NORs in general, I don't think you need a lot. Like for me, I'm 200, near 280 pounds this morning, and I'm using 150 milligrams of MPP.
Yes.
For my 19 NORs.
Another steroid that we can use in low dosages, right?
You don't need to. And I'm seeing these dosages because I'm seeing people come to me like in the 800s on the MPPs and the
Oh wow,
400-500s. Yeah,
What?
yeah. I'm like, Jesus, man.
Wow, you must be very that person must be very unhealthy.
Well, yeah, I mean, either that or it's poor drug advice. What I'm seeing a lot of the drug advice, I always ask
Yeah.
what previous coaches, always an old school mentality guy, and generally they don't really do off seasons, they just prep people.
Yeah.
Always that same kind of, it's funny that. But
I mean, I had a guy inquire last week. I'm not going to mention any names, not going to mention any coaches. It's not my style, but his coach was proposing to him that he was going to do a 2-week clear out phase.
what's that to do?
No idea, mate. So he was going from a blast, right? A 2-week clear out phase. So this was a blast for the off season, 2-week clear out phase, straight into prep.
Oh, it just sounds like he hasn't managed his scheduling right with the shows.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree. I agree. But that should be the first thing that you do, though, right? Shouldn't it? You know, you manage that periodization where your off time should be before a prep. You know, your clear out phase.
Yeah, I mean, you either, you know, in that little clear out phase before prep, you're either the last bit of that cycle, off-season cycle, you use it as a pre-prep phase, maybe tidy things up a little bit, then make maintenance. Or what I've actually done with one client, Nat, who's competing back end of this year, he's in the health phase right now, where his performance is absolutely immaculate. I'm using the first 5 or so weeks to tidy him up, bring him back for like 10 pounds or so, just because if your performance isn't budging, then you've still got the stimulus that has led to the change. So, you know, from that point onwards, you look at biofeedback. If it starts to go negative, I now have the tool in which, right, we have a new stimulus at hand. Let's add food for the rest of the health phase. And yeah, it puts you in a better position going into prep. And
it does.
Yeah, I just found.
I almost feel like that was one of the things that we did really well this prep with my own is I don't see December really as the start of prep. I see that more as of a tidy up phase, like you've just said. You know, I was pushing so hard into that December that December was really a time for me to get my biofeedback under control. It was a time for me to drop like you've just said, like 8 to 10 pounds, and then you start prep, you know, in January in a much better position, and you feel better as well. You know what I mean? So I think personally that's a really good way to go about it, is have that tidy up phase before you start prep, especially if you've pushed hard in the off season.
Are you one of these people that when you like in those first few weeks of dieting, do you actually see like any like progress towards the end goal of getting on stage, or is it just all inflammation that comes off?
I personally think it's all inflammation.
Yeah,
I think it's all inflammation. And this time round, I noticed that it also helped me clear up my niggles, you know, like my shoulder pain and my lower back pain that I was suffering from. Obviously, I do try and get regular treatment, but as soon as I dropped that inflammation, I felt great, you know. But yeah, I would say it's all water and inflammation from just, you know, pushing the food so hard.
Yeah, I'm one of these guys that it takes me about 4 or 5 weeks for my body to realize it's dieting.
Yeah.
Where the scale weight, I get an initial drop, then it will stay there for ages.
And then what phase do we go through? The fat flat.
Oh yeah. That's horrible.
We all hate that phase, right?
Yeah, everyone goes through it, and I'm like a burnt out recorder because I have to tell every client for the first like 5 6 weeks every week, look, mate, keep your hoodie on and just fucking work. Everyone goes through this, even myself. It's like, yeah, that's real. Skinny fat place.
What do you think of Cedric's passing?
Oh, so sad, isn't it?
It is.
I'm blunt. I'm absolutely blunt to it now, though. Like I feel absolutely numb to it, if that makes sense. The amount of deaths we've had in the last 2 years is no surprise.
I know. No, it's not a surprise. I think that's the worst thing about it. it's not a surprise to anyone anymore. It's almost the norm to pick your phone up and to see a tribute to somebody passing in the bodybuilding industry that we've either looked up to or we've watched train. That's the real sad part. That's really sad.
Yeah.
When it's got to that point.
It's like it's a victory if no one's died this week.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, yeah.
Well, don't say I don't think it even matters because this isn't even paid promotion or anything like that. Fucking hell, get ahead of myself. But do you think, correlated with what's gone in the last 2 years? Do you think that has anything to do with it, or do you think it's just?
I'm not educated enough, really, Dan, to talk about that. I'd just be making statements really with no backing behind it. I'm not sure, mate. I'm not sure. I know that I've read a little bit into, the virus and the vaccine clots your blood, but I'm no expert. I've read no papers. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist. I'm just not. I don't tend to buy into them too much. But it almost seems like it's too much of a good coincidence that it's all started to escalate now, doesn't it?
It's almost like
it's not sitting.
It's almost like it's highlighted the issue of bodybuilding. The issue of bodybuilding is that it is a risk, but then what's gone in the last 2 years has made it.
Been a catalyst.
Yeah.
Been a catalyst for everything to start snowballing, right?
I can speak for looking at people's blood work, and I can tell who's been vaccinated, who hasn't. That's the concerning thing, I think. Particularly looking at people's CRP risk, that's been always elevated when people have been vaccinated. Obviously, CRP risk is an inflammation marker. That's something that's been quite concerning, but that tends to die off a good while after. Someone I was talking to this about was Nick Gloff, if you follow him. No, he works with Revive and Raw.
Okay.
Yeah. And he said the exact same thing. He's seen that amongst all his clients as well. So other coaches are seeing it as well.
Well, there will be a correlation. I'm sure there will be.
Yeah.
Some sort of correlation.
I think as well, like when you're working with bodybuilders that already have like high viscosity, blood cell mean concentration, the hematocrit's going to be high and everything like that. Put anything else on top that leads to thickening of the blood. There's obviously an elevated risk there. Hence why I won't get it myself. I'm just scared to, just in case.
Yeah. So am I, mate. Simple as that. Scared.
I'm almost like, you know what? I'm going to let everyone else get it, and I'm going to watch and see what happens. And I'm watching, and we're seeing what's happening. That's almost what it is. And I can't speak for every bodybuilder, but obviously we know that African American ethnicities are higher at risk of blood clots and heart attacks. They've got naturally higher blood pressure, haven't they?
Yes.
So when we're looking at, I could talk for a few, like Sean Roden, obviously Cedric now as well. Yes. I'm sure in many others as well. There's that, but I don't think that really comes into it when you're already a bodybuilder and doing what you're doing. It'd be interesting to see general pop kind of statistics of who has blood clots.
Yeah.
Whether there's a favouring of different ethnicities as well.
Well, I think there is within general population as well. I think I've read somewhere that there is.
Okay.
But yeah, it's. I've just been listening to the first sort of 25 minutes of the bodybuilding and bollocks, and just it is sad because it does make someone like me question how far I'm willing to push this, because leading on to what we're here for, I know that I need to be significantly heavier on stage, and that's going to require that's going to put stress on my body as it is. I need to step on stage probably 20 at my absolute peak, let's say, to be a professional bodybuilder. 212 is the maximum, right? I'm going to compete at 212. So I was 182 on stage. What does that give me? That gives me 30 pounds of leeway. Yeah, which is not too much, I suppose, but you know, not when people are stepping on stage like yourself at, you know, 250, 260, I suppose. But it does still make me question how you know, far I am willing to push it, because at 210 I was still uncomfortable. I know that's no weight. That's not. Still felt uncomfortable in myself. Breathing and sleeping was uncomfortable. Digestion was bad. Who knows what it was doing, you know, cardiovascular wise to your heart, but it does make you question.
Yeah. See, the thing is like, when I can imagine when it's in your body, you're even considering that about yourself. Because my training partner, Ali, he's a shorter guy, so he's naturally lighter.
Yes.
I want to get this point across. When people think like, oh, he weighs like 200 pounds, 210, that doesn't mean he's smaller in bodybuilding terms. It just means he's shorter. They're not bloody smaller. They look wider on stage, if anything else. But when you're in your own body, you go by how you feel, and it does make you worry in your head. But then when I'm in my situation, I don't even count like you or Ali as like even being a risk factor, because where my body weight is. But again, when you're in your own body, and I guess it's relative, like your 210 is like my whatever. I know that for general consensus, I'm going to be higher risk because of my weight, but
yeah,
it is a general like concern, I must admit. I talked to you just like 5 minutes after this, because we had a bit of news that I can't say on here, that it does make me consider everything a little bit. But when you're looking at long-term planning in life, like in terms of like settling down and after bodybuilding, this is where it starts to come into where you have to, you know, I'm 25, you must be 27, 28?
29, just turned.
29, you old bastard. No, like, but you know what I mean? Like, we're at the age where we're so goal driven that sometimes you can't come out of that tunnel vision and you only see the goal. And anything outside the goal, you will like it. Things try and tell you, but you won't listen.
Sacrifice. Simple word. You sacrifice everything else for the goal. And I tell you something, when you retire at 40, I've got goals within goals. You know, I want to retire at 40. I want to be a professional by the time I'm 30. That's 10 years as a professional bodybuilder. I've got hopefully 40 to 50 years after that living in my own body. What I do now in these next 11 years could define how I live them 40 to 50 years, right? Yeah. It's a long time.
Yeah. I think
it's a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time. I don't think I want to live that long.
No, don't want to live till you're 80.
Make 75 and I'll be happy.
Fair enough. I think with modern medicine though, we're going to live longer, mate.
Yeah, maybe, hopefully. I think as well, after bodybuilding, I'm not going to go with bodybuilding competitively much past 33, 34.
Very interesting.
That gives me 9 years, you know, that gives
9 years from now.
From now.
That's interesting. Okay.
And when I do like retire from competing and whatnot, I will go totally the other way. I mean, I will anabolics gone, be TRT, and literally like not what Jordan's doing now, but what he was going to do. I'm going to drop all the size. I'm going to get fit. I'm going to, you know, be functionable.
I think
that's
we all want to see, don't we? Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Changing your lifestyle. That's not going to be easy though, Dan. I'll say that.
Because it's an identity thing, isn't it? I think
it is an identity thing. When I tell you something, I had an accident about 10 weeks out from my show. I didn't put it on social media or anything like that. I had a 55 kilo dumbbell fall on my foot. Had to go to A&E. Woman, as soon as she saw me, she went, "Your foot smashed to pieces. Let's get you in quickly for an X-ray." This was 10 weeks out. I was in pieces, you know, I was fucking crying my eyes out because I was thinking to myself, not going to be able to compete, you know. And the first thing that I thought was, who the fuck am I if I can't compete?
Oh, mate, horrible feeling.
That's a really bad place to be mentally, right? Because I'm attaching my identity to just competing. And then I spoke obviously 2.5 weeks out to you, and I said I've had a bit of a mindset shift. And I think that was the start of my mindset shift, because I can't be sat in A&E thinking, who the fuck am I, because I can't compete in 10 weeks' time. There's much more to you, to me, than just competing, right? And that was probably the catalyst to my mindset shifting a little bit. And I thought to myself, do you know what? You can't think like that, Connor. You know, your family, your friends, your other half, they're going to love you whether you compete or not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man. I think that's a very dangerous place to be in.
It is. I know it is, mate.
I think my goal, to be honest, because I've this year, particularly last year, I got so invested into my coaching, it's allowed me to see beyond my own competing. I want to turn pro, do a pro show, and that is it.
Okay.
That's it. I've just, I know that going further is not really going to do me any extra. I've achieved the goal that I've always set out to do. That already could be unrealistic. I don't know. We're going to have a go. But how I see it, that kind of sets my legacy straight and allows me to have that legitimacy to coach at the top level.
I think I've seen from afar, obviously we don't speak every day, but I've seen a mindset shift you since you met your other half, maybe.
Yeah.
And maybe that correlates with you, pushing your coaching a little bit more. But then two factors certainly seem to have, from afar, from what from being able to look at social media and talking to you ever so, often, I've certainly seen your mindset shift from them two things, which is obviously a good thing.
Yeah, mate. I've always said, like, if it wasn't for her, I probably would have went down the wrong advice path regards anabolics, bodybuilding, everything like that. She's the reason I'm with Cal, to be honest. I probably wouldn't live past my 40s, I'd say. She's made me a lot more sensible and considered that, right, this is cool. I love bodybuilding, but there is life after. And
there's life during as well, Dan.
Oh yeah, there's
got to be life during as well, bro.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's why I'm kind of with Cal as well, because I know he's got my best interests at heart. He's always a mate there if I've got anything going on, and keep me healthy. Cal actually used to coach her, so I saw that kind of process through her when we first got together. But yeah, for sure, it makes you consider life beyond bodybuilding, and trying to recognize that whilst you're doing bodybuilding is very, very hard. I got better at it.
Yeah, you have got better at it. I've seen that. I still struggle.
Yeah, but you have you got like a partner or anything?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting.
Live together.
Wow. Okay. But that's
like, I have this unrelenting desire to just be the best.
That's what it takes, though.
And sometimes it's not. It's obviously really good to have that mindset, but you do become very selfish. Very selfish. You've heard this a million times. Bodybuilding is a very selfish sport. I suppose competing at any level, at a high level, is selfish. But sometimes I don't particularly like the person that it pushes me to be, and that's just the truth. That's the truth.
Mate,
that's an honest assessment of myself. Sometimes it pushes me to be too selfish. Don't consider other people in the plan. Nothing else matters, such. And I don't want to be like that anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, it's hard. Now you're in off season, obviously you can kind of try and give back a little bit.
Yeah.
But still,
I wasn't able to.
It only changes your mood.
It does.
Everything else really remains the same. Like, you still got to sleep on time, you still got to go to bed like same time, you still got to eat, you still got to train, but just your mood around those people. I don't know about you, but whenever there is any kind of hostility in the household, if there's an argument, it's always something to do with bodybuilding. Like whether it's the amount of time you're able to spend with your partner, or the amount of quality time, and where you're not checking your phone because you're coaching and whatnot. It's always something to do with that. And it's
endless.
I always said, whoever I end up with, I feel fucking sorry for, because I haven't got a lot of time.
Absolutely. It's just an endless pursuit to try and find some sort of balance, isn't it? With your partner, with your friends, with your family. Let's not, family.
I don't see friends. I don't see them.
You know what I mean?
I get to see my training partner, who's pretty much my best friend now anyway. They do become that every day, which is nice.
But that's in a training environment, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you call that? Can you call that real quality time when you're? I mean, I'm a miserable fucker when I'm training. I'm that far in the zone that I don't want to speak when I'm training.
Yeah. Well,
so that's not really quality time. I mean, my training partner is one of my best friends, but you got to make sure. But I don't speak to him during training because I don't like talking.
Well, I used to be like that. I used to be like that. You probably remember I was like that.
Yeah, I do.
I'm not like, we have a laugh. We have a laugh when we train. Like,
how do you change that? How do you change that mentality?
I don't know. I've settled down. I just feel like a bit of an. I'm not saying you're not like a mature person, because you are. You're older than me. You've seen more life. But I think it's like, again, as you said, like, you've seen a shift in me since like my partner's come in, everything like that, being engaged. But I think it's kind of shifted everything in my mindset, where I've realized that at the end of the day, you've got to enjoy this. So why be miserable even when you're training? To me, the training is the fun part. When I'm doing my set, I'm getting ready to set, I'm serious as fuck. But in between sets, if he cracks a joke, I'm laughing. But sometimes it's not that kind of day. Sometimes we are serious. It depends on the day, doesn't it? Especially if it's prep. If it's prep,
exactly. That's what I was about to say. I think I'm still sort of coming out of that prep phase.
Yeah.
Like we've had 2 sessions, like off-season sessions. Obviously, I was off last week, but we've had 2 off-seasons, and I can feel myself, like you've just said, I can feel myself becoming a little bit more loose in the gym, a little bit more talkative, but my body's still not back to, its absolute best. Obviously, it takes much longer than 10 days for, your biofeedback to come back to you and stuff like that. So yeah, I think during prep, I do go into that zone, but then you're right, actually, as I'm sort of coming out of prep into the off-season phase, I do become a little bit looser and a little bit more joke.
I go that way as well in prep. I do, I must admit. It does become less jokes and laughs.
Yeah. But I think
where my gym's at my house. It's literally on my land. So he turns up, he just walks in my house, we have a cup of coffee, catch up, then all right, let's go train.
Well, there you go. That's nice. That's your socializing time, then, isn't it? That's you're getting yourself ready for training, but you can maybe talk about something else that's not gym related. That's nice, actually.
Oh yeah, it's hardly ever gym related anyway. So yeah. The one regret I do have, obviously, you would have remembered Amph, who I used to train with.
Yeah,
big lump. He's still one of my best mates as well.
I think you look like each other.
I don't get to see him because he's so busy with work, and he lives an hour away, and we don't train together anymore. Well, we don't train together anymore because we used to see each other every day, and I don't get to see him, and that's a shame. I'm just hoping now that I'm out of this diet phase and I can see that I can try and plan some time where we can spend together as well, because these are the things you do regret, like in prep, like especially you don't see beyond prep.
You don't see anything other than prep, do you? And that's the one thing that I've made sure I've done over these last 10, 12, 13 days, whatever it's been since my show, is I've made sure that I've gone and seen family, friends. I've tried my utmost to do that, and that's helped me. This is probably I think after prep, you're always going to struggle somewhat, just in that transition phase between one goal to another. There's always going to be a phase of no man's land, right? I've used that expression before. I think that's where your mind can go if you don't get on plan very, very quickly. But you also need to find the balance again of having that bit of downtime. Like I said to you, you know, last weekend was a completely bodybuilding free weekend. It was just Formula One, MotoGP, rugby, football, anything that I enjoy watching or doing, I went and did that wasn't bodybuilding related, whether it be seeing friends, family, whatever. I did the whole lot. But seeing the friends and family this time, I've made a conscious effort to do so, I think has helped me post-show, because it's been nice, you know, it's not just been me on my own sort of sleeping and eating. It's been nice. I think it's important to get that time in.
Do you find when you're in prep and you're very low, you cut yourself off from those people because you know you're not going to have a good time, and you know you don't want them to see you like
pure isolation?
Yeah,
isolate yourself.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
I find I just don't want them to see me that way.
Yeah, I don't want to be aggy around either. You know, I don't want to be irritable, because I know I can get irritable when I'm on prep. If I'm hungry or if I'm tired, I'm struggling with fatigue, I can get quite irritable, and I don't want to see anybody. I don't want anyone to see me like that. You know.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say, so going over the show,
yes.
we recorded 2 weeks out, was it?
2.5 weeks out. Wednesday.
2.5 weeks out. Go through, first and foremost, you placed 4th in the, was it heavies?
Yeah, light heavies, Ben Wilder, pro qualifier.
Light heavies. Okay, so what was the thinking? Did you know you were going into the light heavies?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
I knew we were going into the class above, yes.
So you obviously carved up accordingly to really fill up and make sure.
Yes, that was so we were loading on 150 grams of carbs per meal, pretty standard protocol, really. And my body does what it usually does. Metabolism starts going from gear 1 to gear 6 very quickly. Start going into hypos every hour and a half, 2 hours, just what my body does when we introduce carbohydrates. So I was filling up, but I was filling up quite slowly. So by the time we got down to the weigh-in on the Friday, so we started carbing up on the Thursday, so I had a full day of carbohydrates, and that's when my metabolism was really starting to fucking fire. Like every hour and a half, 2 hours, my blood sugar was fucking dropping. For fuck's sake, you know.
You weighing yourself between meals?
No, I wasn't weighing myself between meals because I knew that we were comfortably. I did for the British because I was having to make a weight, but I knew I'd be comfortably within the weight range.
Yeah.
So I weighed in with all my clothes on because I knew I'd be comfortably within the weight range. And then we went to have a look in the toilets just to see what the plan of action would be. And I just was like, I was still quite depleted. So on the Friday night, we made the decision to sort of go to 200 grams per meal and also add in an additional pizza. So the plan, I was coming to a point. The plan was to be as full as possible.
Can I guess that when you were carving up 150 and you were doing repeated hypos, were you using Lantus in the morning as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So a little bit of Lantus in the morning, like 20 IU or something like that. 10 or minimal. Okay, so 10.
Yeah.
Between meals, when you were going hypos before the next meal, were you sweating a lot? Cold sweats?
I wasn't sweating a lot actually, Dan. This was more. I was hypo more on the Friday. The Thursday was a much more relaxed and chilled day. So the Friday we were obviously having to travel, find the Airbnb, weigh in, all that sort of. I think stress can be a big factor as to sort of churning through churning through the food and whatnot. But Thursday was a very, very relaxed day. I did go hypo towards the end of my last session, but yeah, I wasn't really having like cold sweats or anything like that.
No,
not that severe.
I was trying to piece together that why it wasn't filling you out. I was wondering that maybe if you were just depleted of intracellular water, maybe, or something like that through sweating. It's definitely happened to me before.
Right. I think it was more the fact that probably more of a bit of a stress factor, to be honest. Yeah. I know that stress for me is a big variable. If I can control my stress, I'm generally in a good place. But yeah, I've noticed that when I do go into stressful states, I do tend to go hypo.
Yeah,
I do.
Reese is the same. So we had a conversation before. What show was it? The show he did before the Ben Weider, where he
Reese
won.
McDonald.
Yeah. So
yeah,
we had a conversation because he was saying that every carb up he did during prep, like as a refeed, he'd literally bang on like 6-7 pounds of water retention after. And
yeah.
I just said, like, assess your lifestyle whilst you're doing these carb ups, because he does a lot. He's a coach, he owns a gym, a lot of stress, and being in prep alone. And I said, like, when your SNS, your sympathetic nervous system, is elevating, your PNS, your parasympathetic nervous system, the PNS tone is down. Does your body at that point want to assimilate nutrients to its desired target, obviously muscle cells? Probably not. It's in a state of flight or fight. It's trying to get away from the saber-toothed tiger. It's not time to eat. So he adjusted that with his carb up. I think he took time off work. Now, all of a sudden, the carb ups were bang on. Like, yeah, it's so important to manage your stress.
I agree, mate. I think it's one of the biggest variables.
Yeah, for sure. Well, obviously cortisol as well, aside. I
mean, so yeah, going back to your original point before I went off on a fucking tangent. Yes, the goal was to be as absolutely full as possible, because we knew there was going to be 10-15 pounds between me and the other lads that I was competing against ultimately. So we needed to potentially sacrifice a touch of condition for fullness this time round.
Yeah. Out of all those guys, like, no offense to them, Reese might be the only one who has more potential in that class, but you have the biggest potential. What I saw,
Reese was in heavies now. I was in, Reese was in heavyweights. I was in light heavyweights.
Were you not in the same class as him on stage?
No, he was in the class after me.
I'm getting confused. Bloody hell. Okay. Makes sense. So who was in your class? I'm trying to piece together now.
Ross. Yeah, so Ross was in my class. Ricky Varney and the lad that won, I think his name is Declan.
Dean.
Dean.
Yeah, no, I have got the right class. I just got Reese wrong. So what I saw from specifically Dean, who won, I personally, like, I preferred your shape. In the back shots, you took all the back shots, as we said. There was a fullness aspect where they just had a few inches here or there, specifically in the upper body, like chest area.
Yeah.
Legs, absolutely fine. It was something about the side shots, like in that top line area, and again, chest and the front shots.
Yes.
It was literally a matter of, it looks like a year worth of off season. That's all it looks like.
Yeah, I agree. I think upper top line, like you've just said, particularly the chest area, needs filling out. Particularly in my my first pose that you go onto and judges see is your front relaxed, isn't it? Chest needs to be popping out as much as possible. Front lat spread needs work again. Chest. I also think my hamstrings from the rear need to be a little bit thicker. So again, we're sort of diving back into the areas that we've already improved to improve them more.
It's filling the gaps, isn't it?
I think so.
from the back, when I looked at your rear lat and rear double, upper half, it was lights out, which is fucking awesome to say, because I was probably your biggest critic from the back about 3 years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
2 years
yeah,
ago.
I mean, I never used to.
Well, it didn't exist, did it?
No, it didn't.
Well, you know, you had delts, and now you have back.
Yeah.
You know, but that symmetry, and it's the same case of me actually as well, where my upper half of my back dominates, but it's making that lower half of the posterior chain
look slightly weaker. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with my side shots. My hamstring from the side looks pretty good, but it's definitely, I don't know whether it's a size or whether it's detail. I need more detail to come out in my hamstrings from the back.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's just another couple of weeks in a deficit, or whether it's muscularity, or what it is.
No, I think it's size. Personally.
Size.
Yeah, because from the back there's a thigh gap. I would like all of that filled in.
Yeah.
All of that filled in, so adductors, area, hamstrings thicker, and I think the detail, I don't think it's a problem. I think you were maybe about 2% sharper, and you would have been fine.
I mean, generally from show to show, I was pretty happy. I mean, nobody wants to come fourth. Let's just put that out there very, very bluntly. Nobody wants to come fourth. I mean, I didn't go into that show to come fourth, and I'll never ever compete to come fourth. But I think if we looked from show to show, we analysed. I mean, I've looked at photos, each photo by photo. I've improved massively, more than I could ask for, you know. But obviously, the result was a bit bittersweet. You know, I've had to sort of shift my focus from focusing on the result to focusing on the progression, just to keep my mindset in a good place, you know, because nobody competes. Nobody steps on stage to finish fourth. Nobody steps on stage to finish third. Nobody steps on stage to finish second. And if you do, I don't know why you're doing it. Just my opinion.
It sounds worse than it is, though, mate. Like, if you do want to have a look at the result, if you looked at that class, you think, okay. And, you know, as we spoke, we won't go into it because it's not worth it. You shouldn't have placed fourth. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I won't say any more because it's not worth rustling any feathers.
Well, but in hindsight, though, Dan, ultimately, you know, I'm at peace with that, because I wasn't going to beat the guy that turned pro anyway.
That's what you said.
I wasn't going to beat the guy that turned pro anyway. So, yes, it would have been nice to place a little bit higher and have, you know, a little bit more of a bragging right to say that you placed a bit higher in the light heavies. But ultimately, the goal was to turn pro, and I didn't do that. I was nowhere near that. I was way off the mark. So, you know, it is what it is. We focus on the positives, and, you know, the negatives we turn into fuel.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually what we said after the show. Is like, does it even matter if you didn't win?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, man, that's nuts.
I mean, if I was
to legs as well,
if I was to be super sort of critical, I think my tan was off, actually. I was a little bit disappointed in hindsight, having looked back at these photos, and, you know, having a look at you know, the gloss. My skin, it wasn't taking the gloss, mate. It was just drying instantly, like my skin was just absorbing it and wasn't sitting on my skin properly. Yeah. As soon as I read your message, I thought, yeah, you know, you're right. I need to be more glossed. That Cal was trying to gloss me up. I was trying to gloss me up. Every fucker was trying to gloss me up, and I just wasn't. It was just absorbing, and I was drying.
Your tan here is lovely.
It's great. I mean, you know, that was the same. You know, the same company that tanned me on the right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've got the yeah. I actually couldn't fit everybody in the photos. But the guy that, obviously, this is Ross, that finished second, and the guy that finished first.
Yeah, I mean, how I see how Dean beat you, I mean, it's just from that lower half. You see the detail.
I agree. Got a fantastic lower half shape, wasn't it?
Yeah. But from the upper half, this is pretty lights out again, as we said.
Yeah. Yeah. The photos speak for themselves, really, don't they?
And the photos actually don't show how bad your tan was, I find.
I know.
Your tan
I mean,
actually looks okay here, but it wasn't
well,
at all.
it wasn't okay at all, mate. No.
I was sitting with, I don't know his name. You know him, blonde guy. He's quite a lump. He's coached by Joe Jeffrey. Wears glasses. Stephen?
Yeah.
I was sitting with him,
German lad, yeah.
and first thing he said is, "What the fuck's wrong with his tan?"
Yeah. I know.
Yeah,
But you know, I'm not one to make excuses. So you know, it does. Again, it's shit, but it's not the reason why I didn't finish. I don't think it's really a reason why I didn't finish first.
No. Dean looks fucking awesome here.
He does. That's a very, very good shot. I mean, they both do. Dean and Ricky, they're both. I would say they're both two of their strongest poses.
Ricky was pilled.
He was, mate.
He was so lean.
He was absolutely diced. Yeah, bit of rebound here.
Yeah. What's the food been like since it's gone in?
Been good, mate. Yeah, I mean, I've obviously been on plan, back on plan from Monday, but I took the week off last week. I don't binge or anything like that, but I just had a more relaxed week of being on track with food and training. Tried to sleep as much as possible. Like I said, tried to eat with friends and family and stuff like that. But yeah, food's gone back in at 600 carb on training days, 275 protein, 60 to 70 grams of protein, 60 to 70 grams of fats. Comes out at about 4,000 calories on training days, and then we're on about 3,500 on non-training days. So food, we haven't fucked around with food. Food is never an issue for me. You know, we don't need to sort of build up as such. We've gone straight back in. We're not fucking around. You know,
that's just, to point it out to people, like post diet, that's not your end destination regards off season. That's just your first bump to get you to healthy biofeedback.
Well, we know that I do rebound quite well, and that I can put on a good amount of muscle in that sort of rebound phase, post-show phase. So we have took the approach of, you know, keeping anabolics a touch higher than what they would be, and also, you know, pushing food a little bit higher as well, because we know that during that phase I can put a good amount of muscle on.
Yeah, it's really just switching out a few of the compounds, isn't it, and just going lower than you were going, but still elevated, keep you in that environment.
Slightly, yeah. So I think we're running 200 milligrams of Testi and 100 milligrams of Primo. I think that's what we're running. Just keeping that Primo in, just because you're going to have such a drop of, you know, we don't want estrogen to spike, essentially, you know.
Or you're a high aromatizer.
Yeah, I'm not though. But we don't want that to happen. I'm not a high aromatizer at all. I don't suffer from any side effects like that. Touch wood, none, zero.
Okay, so you're just basically keeping the environment slightly lower estrogen. Obviously, we know if you're in an elevated estrogenic environment, sure, great for performance, but very, very great for body fat accrual as well.
Exactly. So we've kept T4 in as well. Obviously, kept Proviron in. Telmisartan and metformin obviously run all the way through as well. So yeah, you know, plan's fairly simple. Spend 12 months in this off-season phase, and you know, we go again. Simple as that. 10 pounds heavier.
I think more's to be had, mate. If you had that amount of progress between the shows previously,
I think I can be more than
solid. 12 months solid. I think
it'd be nice.
You could really do some stuff.
I just have this, just always have this doubt that I can put size on, just because I know how hard I've pushed food before in the past, and my weight wasn't budging, you know, just wasn't budging. I just couldn't get past 210, and I was pushing like 5,500 calories. Yeah, it's like, what more do I need to do here? No.
Does it become an appetite issue?
He does, yeah. I mean, my appetite, not great. I mean, if you look at me when I'm 16 years old, I'm fucking 8 stone wet through, 5'5". I had a 2-inch growth spurt when I was like 18 that put me to like 5'7". So, from a genetic standpoint, I don't think I'm not a very big guy,
Yeah, it's hard. Appetite obviously is very genetic, but there are a lot of things you can do, and the main thing is keeping your stresses low. I find, because again, we're going to the SNS, PNS tone. I find for myself, like, stresses from every angle have to be controlled. So training being one of them. I know that if I'm pounding my body into the ground with force reps and intensifiers, I ain't eating that off season.
That's one thing we had to. Well, that's one thing that we did do in them 4 months. In that 4 months, we did hit. I was pounding myself into the ground, and that I suppose that was a combination of why my appetite was, why I did lose my appetite quite quickly, because we went straight into drop sets and rest pauses and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think you're probably right with that one. Maybe I'll be able to keep my appetite better throughout this period, because it's over a longer period of time.
CNS fatigue as well from really heavy lifts.
Fucked, mate.
Yeah. Conversation having with Greg at the minute, Greg Taylor, he's now coached by Cal, is we're talking about his appetite and how we're going to manage to keep him going above 300. He's 290 now, quite lean, but he's just appetite's gone. But look what he does in the gym. He's doing like, what did he do the other day? Like 9 plates aside on the bloody Cybex hack, something like that. He's pulling 340 kilos off the floor. If you're doing that every session, your CNS is always fatigued, your body's always in a stress state, and it's never going to want to eat.
Agreed.
There has to be something that happens where he has a session or every other week where he has like a lighter week of training. You have to think of it as a greater good. It's like saying, well, you could take all these drugs, but I warn you, you won't get to eat on them. Well, what's the use of taking the drugs? We have to be in a surplus to eat. So it's the same with training. What's the point doing that stuff if you can't eat?
You're right. Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there, actually. It's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah. So maybe that's something that you need to look into, because I know like you're training really bloody heavy, which is great, but having some kind of contingency plan where every other week you just bring the loads back, maybe focus on tempos or higher rep ranges.
Fucking hard to when you're training with someone like Brad, mate.
Oh yeah, trying to chase the carrot. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And like my CNS is being fucked for like 2 weeks. I've just realized ever since I've had to step it back a little bit because my knee is a bit dodgy at the minute, all of a sudden my appetite is booming.
Yeah. Because that stress level has been brought down by CNS recovering, etc. Yeah.
I've literally just wrote an article for Full Bore actually for the website that will go up quite soon. That's on this, literally on this, like how to maximize your appetite in the off season. So it'd be nothing you don't already know, but it might remind you. That's because it reminded me as I was writing it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you can tell your clients, but you can't tell yourself.
Send it me across and I'll proofread it for you.
It can if you want.
Yeah, sure, mate. Yeah, I'll read it
over. Yeah, I'll send it over to you after this. You have a read of it because I haven't actually gone through it yet. But yeah, cool, man. Oh, mate, we need to make this a thing.
Yeah, I was literally just thinking that as you were talking. Maybe we can do it every couple of weeks or something like that. Catch up.
It's just a good little check-in, isn't it?
Yeah. It doesn't have to be just bodybuilding related. You can talk about anything, can't we?
Well, that's it. And now I'm going to go do the rest of my day. And I think, well, I just spoke to someone who's quite like-minded and quite motivated.
Still owe me sushi, though, by the way.
I do. Yes.
I've tried sushi twice now since my show. Okay. Both times banging, mate.
Okay, tell you what's going to happen. Sometime
when we've got time.
May or June. I'm going to have a free house. There's going to be a bedroom free as well. My missus, she's going overseas still. She's a yacht master, works on boats and shit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So I'll have a free house. I won't be in trouble with the missus having people round. Stay over for the week, work, train, everything like that, and we'll do sushi.
Sweet, mate. Perfect.
Sounds good, mate.
Perfect.
Cool. What you got for the rest of today?
Training. We're in push today. Push 2. Leave here at about 25 to 11. Had 2 meals. Yeah, push, then work this evening. Got a little bit of work to do on the laptop. Got one-to-one clients as well. So yeah, busy day today.
What's the program for push today? Because I only see the kit in shreds. It looks amazing.
Let me just pull it up. Apologies, I usually do know this off by heart, but it's only my 3rd session. Where is it? We have got got standing dumbbell lateral raises. Then we're going to go into incline Smith machine chest press, hammer strength shoulder press plate loaded. Then we've got machine pec deck fly, standing cuffed cable lateral raise, and then we've got finishing with triceps. Got the EZ tricep push down, and then the overhead tricep extension.
Pretty substandard.
This is push and triceps. So the split is push and arms, hamstrings and back. Wednesdays are rest, and then we've got 3 days, so Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So we do push and triceps, we do quads and hamstrings, and then we do pull and biceps on the Saturday, rest on the Sunday.
That's interesting. How do you find training 5 days a week?
Well, this is the first week, Dan.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
This is the first week, so I will let you know on Sunday.
You'll be ruined.
We both looked at each other like, I've not trained 3 days in a row for the last fucking 3 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. Fuck it. I wanted set days off, just so it's a little bit easier for work and things like that. Yeah. You know, organising things. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I feel good now. I feel good. Ready to get stuck into the off season. Obviously, Brad starts his prep in a week and a half. So it's almost like the I'm now the carrot. You know.
Yeah. Nice.
So nice transition.
He's still going to be strong as fuck though. Like,
oh, he will be.
I see him at the show, and I only saw the back of him at first, and I thought, "Which fuck is that? Big cunt."
And then it was like, yeah.
Yeah. He's a big guy.
He is a big unit.
Yeah, he's a nice guy as well. Got talking to him a little bit.
He is a really nice lad. Really nice lad.
I didn't realise he was type 1 diabetic.
Yeah, that's what he has to contend with.
That's hard.
Oh, massively.
Yeah.
Very difficult. Very difficult. He's on the ball with it though. You know, he knows his body inside out. So
yeah. Nice, man. All right, I've got to get on with work. I've actually still got to do cardio. You do cardio. Yeah, because I didn't expect clients to turn up this morning. So cardio, work, and I'm picking up, well, potentially, I'm going to look at a Nautilus Generation 1 adductor. Very, very rare, chain driven.
Okay, so the one before the one that they've got in future?
Yes.
Adductor in future.
That might be Generation 3, actually. Much better than one at future. That's a bent leg. This is a straight-legged, chain-driven.
Oh, I'm not so sure. I'm not a favourite of the straight. I'm not a fan of the straight leg.
It's just harder.
It is. It is harder.
Well, I've got to revert to something else because I've got the Cybex adductor and I can't fit any more weight on it, and it's dangerous now as well. Like Ali has to hold on for dear life. I've got 7 plates on there.
Yeah, it's no good. It's no good. It's not what it's built for, is it?
No, it affects the camber and the belt as well.
Of course it will.
So
7 plates, another 140 kilo on there.
And 4 of them are 25s. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm even slowing down the tempos now. Like 4-second eccentric, 2-second
Yeah,
pause.
we were having to do that when we were home training during COVID. They're nasty.
Yeah, yeah.
You're nasty, the eccentrics and the holds after the set and things like that.
So
Do enjoy that.
I know this Nautilus Generation 1 is heavier stack as well. And putting yourself in that straight leg position should limit load too. Then on top of that, jimp in the back of it.
Okay.
And should work. I'll go try it today. It's only like 20 minutes up the road. I got a tip. If it's good, I'll get it in the gym for next leg day and I'll sell that Cybex.
Building quite the gym.
Oh, mate, it's coming on. It really is. I might even get a second hack squat in there. There's one up for sale at the minute that I really like. So I might have 2 variations, the hack squat, more upright one, and then I've got the linear gym shot one.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of taking that as well.
Brick by brick, mate. Brick by brick. It's impressive to see.
Yeah. Running out of space though.
You have to knock a wall out.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Knock a fucking wall out, extend it.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Sure, man. Right. Have a good day, mate. Have a good training session.
I'll stay on. Stay on after.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me stop recording.